So, hope you like those ads. The first one, the branding ad for a bank, is really a thing of beauty. What a lovely film. It's a real artwork. What's the Tabasco for it? Not too much of an offer, certainly. And then the second ad, which is about the polar opposite of the first one, is done by a gentleman who's very famous in the direct world named Ron Popeil, who invented lots of these gadgets. And the Popeil Pocket Fisherman, the pasta maker that you saw, many other things, and then used the format of an infomercial. And that infomercial basically takes you through the whole purchase funnel, much in the same way a direct mail piece that you get in the mail would do. So you're not aware of the pasta maker, and yet by the end of the 15-minute or half-hour ad, you can't wait to, dial up and get one and make your pasta, and then, of course, all those beautiful sausages. So the Ron Popeil ad is a direct ad, everybody. So not the most beautiful thing in the world, but effective, very effective. And those ads, by the way, typically run on television. They don't pay for the media time. They pay per order. And so every one of those pasta makers that Ron sold could be traced back to the network where it ran based on a phone number, separate phone number for each network, or some kind of code that the watcher or the caller would have to mention, or that they ordered online. In those days, they weren't ordering online, I can tell you that. So very results-oriented. The media is getting paid based on the results they engender. And that is a forebear, of course, for all Internet interactive advertising, where results can be directly tracked back to a particular site, etc., or email or whatever. Okay. So we talked about copy strategy being the basis, the foundation, if you will, the skeleton, whatever you want to say, for the ad. And Tabasco is our acronym for that. And now just a couple of words about branding and the power of brands for us to keep in mind also, as sort of one of the basic marketing tenets to be aware of as we move through the semester. And usually in my classes, I ask students those who have an iPhone to raise their hands, those who have an Android to raise their hands, and you can guess that most people have iPhones. Most people have Apple computers, and particularly with your group, the younger group, Apple really dominates. And then I asked the class to just think about what Apple and iPhone stand for, what kinds of adjectives. And the branding is really this brand character idea that we talked about before, where you really try to have very clear adjectives for what defines the brand. And an Apple, what adjectives would you come up with for the brand? And think back to when you first get the iPhone in your house and you open it up and you see the package and you see the way the phone is laid out and the charger, etc., is laid out. And what can you say about it? I mean, is it well thought out? Is it precise? Is it a pleasure to open up and just see everything just about perfect? And it's a brilliant job of branding, which Steve Jobs was amazing at. And then when you think of some other brands of phones, okay, or some other major, internet brands like Microsoft and Windows, what kinds of words come to mind with Microsoft and Windows? Okay. What kind of words come to mind with Samsung and Samsung phones, Samsung packaging, etc.? What is the strength of those brands? And of course, as those of us who have Apple phones know, iPhones are more expensive. They are charging for that brand. And Another thing we can say about Apple as a brand, or about phones as brands, is that these tend to be badge products. What do we mean by that? Having it, using it, having other people see you have it and use it says something, we think, about you. You have an iPhone. You paid a little more. You're cool, I guess, right? What are other badge products? Are cars badge products? Oh, they sure are, especially in Los Angeles. Is the drink you order at a bar a badge product? Give me the cheapest vodka. Waiter, a bottle of your cheapest champagne for my friends here. Are your clothes badge products? What are other badge products where the brand you wear says something about you? So the strength of the brand. And here we have symbols of Apple, IBM Windows, and Samsung. They're branding icons. And I would argue that there's a lot more personality in that top one than in the other two, which are sort of vague and geometric in a way. Don't really evoke too much. So I would ask you to do some thinking now about brands. And what is your favorite food brand, your favorite car brand, favorite clothing brand? And most of my students at FIT have a favorite clothing brand, not surprisingly. If the brand was a person, who would it be? Think about your favorite clothing brand. Probably some of them have spokespeople already. Who are the spokespeople? Why were they chosen? What are their personalities? List a few character adjectives for your favorite clothing brand. Just take a minute and think through that, please. Okay, so now we've done a very quick look at brands and branding and the power of a brand, and etc. And we're really at the end of the content for this lecture, and we're going to talk about assignments now. So the first assignment is to I want team 1. You can look up your teams in the group section on Blackboard. Team 1, get together, introduce yourselves to each other. I would hope maybe even take a look at your icebreaker questions and information and your zip codes, and talk to each other about them. Work out times when maybe all of you can get on a phone call, because you're going to have regular meetings coming up pretty soon. And the first thing you're going to do as a team is you're going to pick a direct ad, meaning an ad with an offer in it, to submit to the class. There's a discussion board that will be set up, if it's not now, and I can't recall if I've done it yet, but your ad will be submitted to the discussion board, and then you will do a Tabasco on it, and every other team, the other 3 teams, will also look at the ad and do a Tabasco on it. And also, please include what medium the ad was running in, what website was it running on, or what TV channel, or whatever the case may be, so we have an idea of that to help with targeting. Now, in 2 weeks, you will need to present to class on 4 companies. Team 1 is going to prepare a presentation on Wells Fargo. Team 2, United Airlines. Team 3, Uber. Team 4 is going to do a presentation on Amazon. And this is what the presentation will include. Company background, right? When founded, business description, growth trends, competition, customer characteristics. You're going to use the Gladys Marcus Library for secondary research. There's lots of information there on companies. Hoover's will give you information on companies. Just do searches in the library by company name for news. These companies are all in the news a lot. and make sure you're looking at the latest news. Then you're going to talk, the second section of the presentation will talk about the current situation. Each of these is, to some degree, a problem company or has some issues, and who doesn't? So what are the key customer or employee relations issues, and how are they affecting the company? And finally, how is the company attempting to solve the problem or problems, and will it work? And then, what should they do to solve the problem? You're going to be using the library, doing secondary research. You're going to prepare a deck with a recording attached to it. It can be probably just an audio recording, but it could be video. If you want to do it that way, your team will decide. And you will submit it 2 weeks from now to discussion group. Each team will submit. And then I will come up with a series of questions, and we will start a discussion, again, not as individuals, but each team will get together, come up with a response to the different teams, and these discussions will be run as teams. You're not going to have to read 19 responses to everything and respond to every person or whatever the case may be. You're going to read 3 other responses because there are only 4 teams, okay? I want you to work together as teams, talk to each other about these things. This, as I said before, this is a key part of this class. And as the semester goes on, I want each team to keep track of the news on your company and bring into class any new developments. And this will give you extra credit in class participation if you make a habit of doing this. So we've now come to an end, believe it or not, of the first lecture, the first class. I want to review, very top line sense, what we have talked about, because we've covered a lot of different things. And first we started by introducing everybody to Direct. And we established some marketing themes and principles, USPs, unique selling propositions, CRM, customer relationship management, and Direct, which always has an offer and is trying to get somebody to do something. We reviewed the syllabus, and I apologize that those slides were cut off somewhat. It took me a little while to figure out that I could actually open up the window there and show you the whole slide. I apologize for that. And by the way, for this reason, I have included the PowerPoint for this whole lecture so you can look at the whole slide. We talked about management by objectives, the need for those things to be measurable. We talked about 2 marketing constants, copy strategy, which is Tabasco. We talked a bit about branding. You have your teams from a listing of groups, and I'm hoping on your own you guys are now going to quickly have a meeting and talk about these company presentations and who's going to do what research and who's going to do the PowerPoint, and start to divide things up. You might find it helpful to elect a team leader. The team leader can change every week or every couple of weeks. But the team leader's got the goal of kind of pushing everything and pushing everyone and being responsible ultimately for getting everyone to participate. The best teams are teams where everyone participates. Everyone contributes. So that's the definition of a really effective team. So, again, we have finished class 1, everybody. Moving customers to take action is our theme. Now, next, you're hopefully going to have a little bit of fun. There is a game/puzzle for you to solve. There are 10 questions for you to answer. You're going to get these questions individually. So all 19 of you will get the same 10 questions. You have to have specific answers. It's not multiple choice. You need to fill in the blanks with the right answer. Now you're able to go back and look at the PowerPoint and find the answers if you can't remember them. And once you've done all 10, and I encourage you to also to work as teams so you can help each other. Maybe you divide up the questions, for instance, and make it easier for everybody that way. But each of you will have to send in all 10 questions. And once you do that, you'll get a clue of a word. One of the